They're twisting your peace into paranoia, your silence into scheming. Chosen one, they've started calling you a psycho. But it's all projection. Why is it that the more you walk in truth, the more they label you the enemy? Spirit warriors, let me take you into a moment I know many of you will resonate with deeply. Imagine this. You're sitting in a room with people you've known for years. You've changed, grown. You're not the same person you used to be. You're quiet, you're intentional, you're spiritual. Suddenly someone says, "You've been acting weird lately. Like, are you okay?" The whole room gets quiet. You look around, realizing they've already formed an opinion. You've been labeled. Not curious, not enlightened, but crazy, unhinged, or worse, dangerous. But here's the kicker. You're not the problem. You're the mirror. And people hate mirrors when they haven't done the inner work. You, the chosen one, are not being targeted because you're evil. You're being targeted because you're real. And in a world addicted to fakeness, that makes you a threat. So, what happens when people can't keep up with their own lies about you? When their version of your story starts falling apart because your truth is undeniable, that's when the spiritual warfare begins. Not in the clouds, but in side eyes, rumors, backhanded compliments, and fake concern. As St. Augustine, the truth is like a lion. You don't have to defend it. Let it loose. It will defend itself. Spirit warriors, if you've ever felt like you're being misunderstood, misrepresented, or made out to be the villain when you're simply living your purpose, this video is for you. Watch till the very end, because I'm about to break down 7 deep spiritual truths about why the chosen ones are being falsely labeled and how their lies are collapsing faster than they can fabricate them. Chosen ones, it's time to spiritually armor up. The attacks aren't random, they're confirmation. You're not crazy. You're not too much. You're just what this world can't categorize, and that terrifies them. Let's uncover the tactics, the lies, and most importantly, your divine truth. Stay with me till the end, because this might just be the wake-up call your spirit has been waiting for. Point 1. You trigger what they're trying to hide. In a world where facades are the norm and masks are stitched tighter than truth, authenticity is nothing short of revolutionary. Most people walk through life wearing beautifully curated masks, smiles that don't reach their eyes, conversations filled with rehearsed charm, and lives choreographed for public applause. But when you, chosen one, show up in your raw, unfiltered truth, it rattles their foundation. Why? Because authenticity exposes artifice. You become a living, breathing mirror, not through confrontation, but through quiet presence. You don't need to call out anyone. Your energy does the talking. Your stillness whispers truths they've been avoiding for years. And for those who've built their identity on half-truths and performance, that's absolutely terrifying. So what do they do to protect their illusion? They flip the script. Suddenly your discernment becomes paranoia. You notice patterns, energies, inconsistencies, and rather than facing the truth of your accuracy, they label you as overly sensitive, dramatic, or difficult. Your boundaries, those sacred lines you set to preserve your peace, are painted as cold, even cruel. And your silence, the very thing that shields you from their manipulation, that becomes rudeness or pride. Sound familiar? This tactic is called gaslighting, and it's one of the most common forms of psychological manipulation. According to psychologists, gaslighting thrives on denial and misdirection, making you question your own perceptions so the deceiver doesn't have to face their own reflection. But here's the beauty in being the chosen one. You're not here to bend to the delusion, you're here to disrupt it. Your light does not need approval, it doesn't need applause or validation. Like the sun, it rises on schedule regardless of who's watching. And that light? It exposes the cracks in their carefully crafted facades. It burns through the illusion, not to shame them, but to reveal what's real. Some will run, others will rage, but just a few might finally take off their own masks and begin their healing too. So don't dim for the comfort of others. Let your presence remain rooted in truth. And remember, your authenticity isn't just a trait, it's a ministry, it's divine. Let it shine, chosen one. Shine without apology. Point 2. You're spiritually misunderstood, not mentally disturbed. Let's get one thing straight. Spiritual awakenings don't arrive with balloons, cake, or a crowd cheering you on. They usually show up like an unexpected storm, quiet, sudden, and soul-rattling. One day you're living your regular life, and the next you're plunged into deep solitude, questioning your reality, your identity, and even your sanity. It's not glamorous. It's not Instagram-worthy. It's raw, sacred, and often lonely. While everyone else is out chasing distractions, you're shedding illusions, confronting generational wounds, and having conversations with the divine in the stillness of your own mind. And here's the kicker. While you're ascending spiritually, others will swear you're falling apart. To them, it looks like isolation, detachment, or losing your spark. That's because they can't spiritually decode you. You're speaking a frequency they haven't tuned into. You're hearing divine whispers in silence, seeing truth behind smiles, picking up on energetic shifts in a room full of laughter. And since they can't understand what you're seeing and feeling, they label you unstable, overly sensitive, or different. But let's be clear, you're not crazy, you're spiritually bilingual in a one-language world. This transformation often feels like spiritual boot camp. You're shedding layers that never belonged to you. That people-pleasing identity, gone. The false confidence built on societal approval, stripped away. What remains is the raw, unfiltered version of you, the soul that's been waiting for you to stop performing and start being. And that version of you, Earth Angel, doesn't need validation. That version operates on divine frequency. Even science backs this up. Studies on neuroplasticity show that the brain rewires itself during deep inner work and mindfulness, creating new thought patterns and levels of awareness. In short, your brain is literally evolving when you're waking up spiritually. So while others are gossiping about how weird you've become, you're busy rewiring your reality and healing generations of pain. So don't shrink. Don't try to translate your soul into a language people only use to flatter egos. Let them misunderstand you. Let them laugh or walk away. Just know this. As you rise, you reflect their stagnation. And one day, they'll wish they had listened when you spoke the language of truth. Until then, keep ascending, even if you must do it alone. Point 3. Their lies can't survive the light you carry. The funny thing about liars is that they always forget the details. They weave stories filled with half-truths, exaggerations, and convenient omissions, but here's the twist: they can't remember the lies they told. You, on the other hand, walk with clarity. You're grounded in reality, blessed with divine memory and spiritual discernment that doesn't miss a beat. While they scramble to keep their false narrative intact, you stand firm, speaking truths that rattle the very foundation of their fiction. One truth from your lips feels like a gust of wind hitting their flimsy house of cards, and that's when the unraveling begins. You've probably seen it happen. You ask a simple question and suddenly they're sweating. You mention a detail they accidentally left out and now they're fumbling. Their web of lies, spun so confidently, starts to look like unraveling yarn in the hands of a cat. It's almost comical if it weren't so revealing. And what do they do when their stories don't hold up anymore? They flip the script. Suddenly you become the manipulator. You're the villain in the story they created, because that's easier for them to digest than admitting the truth. This, Earth Angel, is textbook projection. In psychology, projection is a defense mechanism where individuals attribute their own unwanted traits to someone else. When a liar sees your truth exposing them, it threatens their fragile image. So instead of owning up, they accuse you of being exactly what they are. This tactic is meant to distract and discredit. It's not about you. It's about preserving their illusion. But here's the deeper truth. When people can't destroy your truth, they'll aim to destroy your character. It's not personal, it's strategic. Your light exposes what they tried so hard to keep hidden. Your presence alone disrupts their illusion. This is why the chosen ones are often misunderstood, targeted, or isolated. Not because of what they've done, but because of what they represent. Truth, awareness, and accountability. So don't fall for the smear campaign. Keep your peace, keep your clarity. Let your integrity speak louder than their accusations. The truth always outlives the lie. And the one who walks with divine memory never has to shout. They just keep showing up while the liars keep slipping on the very lies they laid out. Point 4. Your calmness disturbs their chaos. Ever noticed how your peace bothers people who thrive on drama? It's not just your imagination, it's psychological, even spiritual. When you walk into a room with your energy balanced, heart calm, and soul glowing, it unsettles people who rely on chaos to feel alive. You're centered, smiling with your soul, not the fake, toothy grin meant to appease. And suddenly, without saying a word, you've triggered something. Someone rolls their eyes. Another starts an argument over nothing. The third begins stirring gossip like it's a potluck of dysfunction. Why? Because chaos cannot comprehend peace. People who are internally unsettled often seek external validation through noise, emotional outbursts, control, manipulation, or drama. Your presence, rooted in peace, is like holding a mirror up to their storm. It exposes what they're lacking: stability, self-awareness, or healing. And instead of choosing growth, they sometimes choose resistance. In fact, studies in behavioral psychology show that individuals with high emotional reactivity tend to feel threatened by those who demonstrate emotional regulation and calm decision-making. It's not that your calmness is offensive. It's that it highlights their internal disarray. Here's the wild part. They'll either try to pull you into their whirlwind or blame you for the gusts. You didn't raise your voice. You didn't start the chaos. Yet somehow now you're the problem. That's a classic projection. When people can't control you, they try to control the narrative about you. And this is where your power lies, not in reacting, but in remaining grounded. Your peace is your protection, it's your crown. Staying calm in a room full of storms doesn't mean you're passive, it means you're powerful. You don't need to match anyone's chaos to prove your presence. In fact, your refusal to be shaken is what commands attention and respect. Neuroscience even backs this up. Calm energy influences brain waves, especially in conflict-heavy spaces, helping de-escalate tension and recalibrate the room. That's real power. So keep walking in with your energy protected, your peace intact, and your spirit unbothered. Let the ones who can't handle it expose themselves trying to provoke you, because when they realize they can't shake your calm, they'll have no choice but to confront their own noise or leave you alone entirely. Either way, you win. Point 5. You're operating from a higher frequency. This one's deep, Earth Angel, because you've reached a point in your spiritual evolution where gossip, shallow validation, and emotional games no longer appeal to you. As a chosen one, your soul has outgrown the need for external approval. You're no longer participating in the low vibration noise of the world. You've shifted, vibrating on a frequency that only those with awakened eyes can even begin to perceive. And guess what? That elevation comes with a strange kind of invisibility. You become a mystery, a quiet storm. While others are busy broadcasting their lives for applause, you're tuned in to a divine frequency, silent, powerful, and untouchable. But here's the twist. When people can't understand you, they fear you. It's human nature. When energy doesn't make sense to the ego fills in the blanks. People at a lower vibration literally cannot read your energy accurately. You don't react the way they expect. You don't play their games. You don't fall for the traps they set to get a rise out of you. So instead, they write their own stories about you. Whole fictional novels full of wild plots, backstabbing narratives, and outlandish assumptions. 1 minute you're aloof, the next you're arrogant. They'll call you too quiet, then too confident, too spiritual, then too weird. It's not about you. It's about their inability to see clearly through the fog of their own unresolved energy. Let them write, let them speculate, let them build their castles of illusion. Because while they're busy penning gossip, God has already published your truth. You were written by the author of light, the one who sees the heart beyond the noise. Your worth doesn't come from popularity or praise, it comes from purpose. And your purpose was never meant to be understood by everyone. It was meant to be fulfilled despite being misunderstood. Don't waste your divine energy trying to correct rumors or prove your character. That's not your assignment. Your silence speaks louder than their noise. Your fruit proves your roots. The ones meant to walk with you will feel your authenticity without needing an explanation. The rest, let them sit in their stories while you continue rising in your truth. You're not here to be liked. You're here to be light. Point 6. Their guilt sees you as the accuser. Ever wonder why people suddenly start acting awkward or distant after they've wronged you, even though you've stayed silent, composed, and entirely civil? It's not that you've changed. It's not that you're bitter, angry, or difficult. It's their guilt. It's their conscience sounding the internal alarm every time they enter your presence. You didn't need to scream, call them out, or post a dramatic status on social media. Just by continuing to live in alignment with truth, integrity, and quiet strength, you've become a walking mirror. And for someone who hasn't owned their actions, that mirror is blinding. Psychologists call this cognitive dissonance. a mental discomfort someone feels when their behavior doesn't align with their values or image of themselves. When they wronged you, they may have convinced themselves you deserved it. But when you didn't lash out, didn't retaliate, and instead moved with grace, it disrupted that mental narrative. Suddenly they're left with a truth they can't ignore. The problem wasn't you, it was them, and so they scramble for a new narrative, one where you are the villain, one where you are holding a grudge, being cold, or just too sensitive. It's easier for them to label you than to face the guilt within themselves. But here's the kicker. You don't need to clear your name, correct their story, or chase down closure. Your existence is the proof, the peace you carry, the growth you exhibit, the glow that radiates from someone who healed without vengeance. That's your silent testimony. And believe it or not, it speaks louder than any confrontation ever could. There's something deeply magnetic about quiet conviction. It unsettles people who live by manipulation, deceit, or blame. And while they may never apologize, may never acknowledge the harm they caused, you can be sure of one thing: they know. They know exactly what they did. That's why they avoid you. That's why they whisper. That's why they watch from a distance while pretending not to care. They feel exposed in your presence, not because you're reminding them of their wrongs, but because you become evidence of what integrity looks like. So don't shrink, don't explain, and definitely don't chase closure. You've already won. You're living proof that truth doesn't need an audience, it just needs endurance. Point 7. Your anointing makes you unexplainable. This is the grand finale, Earth Angel. Chosen ones, let's talk truth. They fear you because they can't define you. In a world obsessed with labels, titles, and neat little boxes, you are the spiritual curveball. You're not religious in the traditional sense, but your soul is undeniably connected to Source. You're not loud. Yet when you walk into a room, the air changes. That's not charisma, it's divine energy. You're not throwing punches or screaming for attention, but you're still winning battles most people don't even know exist. See, society has been programmed to trust what's familiar and predictable. When someone moves outside of that programming, when someone like you walks with mystery, discernment, and divine confidence, it triggers something in them. They call you crazy, difficult, intense, but you're simply operating on a higher frequency. You are the divine glitch in the matrix, the unexpected variable they can't calculate, and it drives them wild. Psychologists say that the human brain is wired to fear the unknown. It's a survival mechanism. But spiritually, that fear becomes projection. So they mock, exclude, or criticize you, not because you're wrong, but because they don't understand the blueprint you're living by. They want to reduce your multidimensional soul to a stereotype, and when they can't, they panic. But listen closely. Your mission isn't to be understood. Your mission is to transform. You are the code breaker, the light in the darkness, the soul whispering truth in a world addicted to lies. You're not here to fit in. You're here to shift paradigms, to heal ancestral wounds, and to wake up the sleepers. So let them talk. Let them stare. While they scramble to decode your essence, you just keep rising. You're not their puzzle to solve. You're the prophecy unfolding. Chosen ones, the lies they tell about you are loud, but your truth, it's eternal. You're not crazy, you are not lost, you are not dangerous, you are awakened. Your clarity convicts them, your peace provokes them, your light exposes them, but do not dim it. You are the divine disruption this world needs. Keep walking in truth, keep walking in love. And when they say you're too much, remind them you were never meant to be small. Stay armored, stay humble, stay awake. And Spirit Warriors, watch this video again whenever you need a reminder. You're not who they say you are, you're who God says you are. Until next time, keep your spirit sharp, your energy clean, and your crown straight. Peace and divine protection always.